it is Rick Kamla. It is Hall of Famer Steve Alexander, a.k.a. Dr. A. We are the Fantasy NBA today. What's up? Ooh, we got an episode for the people. Look, they're all fantastic, right? We're covering all 30 teams. We're going on a 30-team tour here through the offseason, covering it from a fantasy perspective. And Doc, we're on the Laker broadcast. He's like, bro, we're out here talking about Gabe Vincent and Jared Vanderbilt. I'm like, we're comprehensive, dude. We leave no stone unturned, okay?
We even talk about Bronny.
We talk about Bronny. Check it out on the Laker episode. But this is a sexy episode, guys. We got the Timberwolves, we got the Knicks, and then we're going to give you our ATS and prop bet releases for Game 6 of the NBA Finals. You're in a good spot. And you're in a good spot if you go with Bet Online and get some of your investment decisions going over there. Bet Online is the world's most trusted betting platform, your number one source for all your sports betting action. With baseball season in full swing, we are deep into the NBA and NHL finals. BetOnline has more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news, and scores, even live in-game betting while the games are being played. We keep the dog days of summer rolling with the largest selection of odds on everything. Updated odds on the MLB, UFC, boxing, tennis, NFL futures. BetOnline remains the best online source for all your sports wagering info. And in between games, there's more to do. Go to the BetOnline Casino. All the top Vegas-style games. They have poker, they have a live casino, and much more. BetOnline. The game starts here. Doc, we start with the Minnesota Timberwolves. My Wolves. Who was the fantasy MVP for the Wolves this year?
You know, I'm glad they're your Wolves again, because when you were not a Wolves fan, the universe did not seem to be aligned properly. And I didn't like it, because back in the day when you were in the attic, the fantasy flat at NBA TV, you were always banging Kevin Garnett and the Wolves, and that was your squad. And, you know, a couple of years ago, you're like, I don't care. I'm done with the Wolves. So I'm glad they're your Wolves again. It feels right. Unlike a lot of these teams we're talking about where there's a little bit of debate as to who the fantasy MVP is, I think it's pretty clear to anyone with a brain that Anthony Edwards was the fantasy MVP of the Wolves. 79 games, 28 points, 6 boards, 5 assists, a steal, 0.6 blocks, tons of threes. How many threes? I don't have it pulled up. Probably 4.5, 4.1. 39% from three. If he shoots it a little better from three, man, it's going to be scary. But Ant-Man all day.
So I was just looking it up because I wanted to confirm this. He led the league. Curry had the highest per game at 4.4, but Ant-Man led the league in threes made. Pardon me, with 320, led the league in threes attempted at 811. I mean, the guy took 811 three balls. He took, how many shots did he take?
Larry Bird. I bet Larry Bird did not shoot 800 three-pointers in his career.
I'm going to look that up. Literally half of Ant-Man shots were threes, Doc. He took 1,600 shots, 800 threes. That's when I read that, I'm like, that's not right.
800?
That's not right. And when I say that's not right, the stats are correct. Ant-Man's got to fix that. Half of your shots can't be threes if you're Anthony Edwards. You're too good at driving. You got to get to the free throw line. You got to bang on people with dunks and posters and hard finishes. I mean, come on, man. Half of your shots were threes. The year before, a third of his shots were threes. Okay. No. They got to fix that, bro. That he's way too three-ball happy. I'll give you another guy who's too three-ball happy, Doc. Victor Wembanyama is too three-ball happy to me. I think he took 10 three-point attempts a game. I know we're on the Wolves here, but it just thought bubble. Like, Ant-Man took too many threes. Look, Doc, in fantasy, nobody's complaining, right? Like, we want the threes. They're an absolutely huge category. But in reality, for the good of the Wolves, you gotta balance that out. Half of your shots were threes. That just doesn't compute to me. GPT Andre's given us some stats here on Bird three-point attempts. Can you read that?
Yeah, for his career, he took 1,727. Ant-Man did that, half of that in one season.
That was an entire Hall of Fame career. An almost top 10 all-time career. He was top 10 all-time, and then Steph Curry got ring number 4, and I had to boot Larry Bird out. And so who else was on the cut line? Shaq. Shaq had a better resume than Bird. Bill Russell, and Wilt Chamberlain. Those guys, by the way, Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain have permanent spots in my top 10. It doesn't matter. Somebody's leaving, they are not. Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain are in my top 10. They're like stapled to it. There's no way. Dude, Wilt is the best stat guy in the history of the sport. Okay? There's no debate about that. And Bill Russell is the greatest winner in the history of the sport. How can those two guys not be represented in your top 10? That's my thinking on that. Anyway, sorry for the thought bubble. Let's reel it back in here. And get to fantasy. Unless you have anything to add on that before we move on from fantasy MVP.
I wrote for Beckett magazine. They did a top 50 players of all time edition NBA magazine, which I have around here somewhere. And I was one of the 5 analysts that determined who the top 50 were of all time. And I was the only guy. This was like, I want to say about 15 years ago, 10 years ago, at least 10, probably 12. I was the only guy to have LeBron James in my top 10 because that was before I think he only had 1 title at that time. And I was the only one to do it. And now he's in everybody's top 10. So I'm a trendsetter, Dr. A. I mean, just look at the fashion.
You're ahead of your time, man. You're ahead of your time. Okay, so Ant-Man, Wolves, MVP. We both agree.
800 3-pointers. That's insane, dude. This dude can jump out of the gym and run over people. Why are we shooting fadeaway threes?
Dude, thank you. You know what's crazy about this is that, like, you and me are on every box score, every game, every stat. But still, there's corners and there's recesses and little pockets that we have not gone to yet. You know, little cul-de-sacs in the NBA neighborhood we haven't been to yet. Dude, me and Doc both are like 800 threes. Like, because you just don't do it. You look at his number, right? 4.1. Okay, that's kind of the number you have. He's 4 3 balls a game. Oh my God, that's amazing. And then you dig a little deeper, which is what we do here, and you realize, dude, 800 3 balls and 1,600 total shot attempts is not right.
And you
have to fix that, dude.
Like all year, what did I say whenever I talk about Ant? I'd be like,
the terrible shooting percentage.
27.6%.
Yep.
Or like he'd have
7 of 21, 5 of 22, all of these damn games like that.
He would have those bad games is because he's just out there chucking threes. Bro. And he's got that mentality like, I just want to go out there and run people over and kill whatever's in front of me. Well, you're not going to do that if you're banging threes all night.
Well, dude, he's 23, so he gets a pass. But he's a little bit too much talk and not enough action right now. Okay, like SGA is a full-time killer. We're seeing it, okay? The guy's 30 every game in the finals. Oh, by the way, you're not supposed to do this. I know SGA prints 30-point games, but Doc, historically, when you talk about Wade, Rick Barry, Dr. J, Bird, Magic, Jordan, these guys, nobody, Kobe, nobody, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30. That's not how this goes. Oh, it's not. What SGA is doing in the finals right now is spectacularly historic, okay? And it's his first time in the finals, which makes it even double historic. I'm just saying, Ant-Man is a part-time killer. Like Doc said, he talks about, man, I'm going to go out and run you over. But then he has these games where he chills and defers, and it's a Dante game, and it's a Jaden McDaniels game, and Ant-Man takes 15 goddamn threes. And so Ant-Man will figure it out. All right, let's move on here, Doc. 2 surprising players. Okay, talk to me about some surprising players for the Wolves last year.
Jaden McDaniels became reliable. That surprised me. That was good. Nas Reed did not surprise me. I think he did what he was supposed to do, sort of, but a little bit. I was surprised he wasn't better. Especially, I think he was playing for a contract. Is he not an unrestricted free agent? this
He has
year?
a player option at about
Okay.
13, which he will opt out of. He will be an unrestricted free agent.
And send that. I'd love to see him with the Lakers, man. What a great addition to the Lakers he would make.
I agree, but that ain't happening. They're not going to have the money for Nas. They've got their mid-level exceptions and all that, which means they can pay 8, 10, 11, whatever those are. Nas Reed is a $30 million per year player, at least. 4 years, $120 million to me is the floor for Nas Reed. And if I were Nas, I'm looking for 4 years and $160 million. That's where I'm trying to get. We'll settle maybe for a little bit less. It's like selling your house, right? You put the price up here. Somebody comes with an offer like 10 grand below. All right, you can work with that. I mean, okay, enough about that. At least the house market's kind of funky, Doc. Take that money. They make that offer to you, people. Surprising players for me. Rudy Gobert. Okay. Doc, you bang on Rudy Gobert so much, and your dislike for Rudy Gobert is so profound and so consistent that it has poisoned me a little bit. Not entirely. Okay, I still have a decent opinion of Rudy Gobert. So I'm prepping for this show, right? Dude, you are clouding my perception of Rudy Gobert. Okay, 72 games, cool. 33.2 minutes per game. Cool. 12 points per game. I can still work with that. 11 rebounds per game. I can still work with that. 1.4 blocks per game. I can still work with that. These numbers are coming down a little bit, right? He's not prime Rudy Gobert anymore, but he is going to plummet in drafts. I promise. His reputation is garbage. People just don't like him. I think people are like, he's old, he's going to get hurt. Like that whole thing starts creeping in. What I look at him as, Rudy Gobert is a future Hall of Famer. Rudy Gobert is one of the best centers of the last generation in the NBA. Whether people want to agree with that or not, I don't care. It's fact. He's got 3 or 4 DPOYs. He is going to be one of the all-time leaders in rebounds, one of the all-time leaders in shot blocking. He's got a bunch of all-stars on his resume. Probably has 2, 3, 4 all-NBAs. Okay, the international stuff. The guy's a freaking Hall of Famer. There's no doubt about it. What I know about Hall of Famers is they don't just all of a sudden suck, Doc. At least not at this point of their careers. Maybe when they get to 38, 39, 40, they do. But Gobert's not that high. He's not even 35 years old. So I like Rudy going into next year as well. Talk to me.
You did not mention his 0.8 steals per game. It's almost a steal and 1.4 blocks a game. So the fantasy numbers are good. Like Rudy is I like Rudy more in fantasy than I do in reality. It's in reality when I see my boy Ty Jerome throw down in his face, and then I see Christian Brown throw down all over Rudy's face. Like these guys get fired up about seeing the defensive player of the year, 4-time champion, standing in front of them because they know they can just mow him down at this point. The fantasy numbers are fine, but
you crack me up.
Rudy Gobert kicked off COVID for the world, for all of us, licking microphones, shutting down the world. And oh my God, dude. Oh my God. Where is Rudy Gobert on your list? Is he in your top 50?
Fuck no, he's not in my top 50, bro. Come on. He's not in my top 50. He's very draftable for me. Going all the way. No, he's not in my top 50. He'll be in my top 100. I'm kind of just shooting from the hip as I say that, but let's see here. I mean, damn, I've done my top 50. The bigs that didn't make my top 50, Alex Sarr, Walker Kessler, Jakob Poeltl, DeAndre Ayton, Joel Embiid, Rudy Gobert, Nas Reed, Brooke Lopez, Khalil Ware, Zach Edey, who's Green? Why do I have Green there? Is that Draymond Green? I don't know who the hell that is. Jalen Duren out of my top 50. Gafford Lively, Claxton, Porzingis, Okongwu, Jared Allen. None of them are in my top 50.
I don't know if Amen Thompson made my top 50 or not, but
Good question.
if he
Amen is in
didn't,
my
I'm
top
going
50.
to add him.
Amen's at 44 for me right now.
Yep. I may have left him out.
Well, you can always revise. Like you say, these are working, living, breathing documents. Doc, I want to get back to surprising players. Julius Randle.
Oh
Not in the
boy, here we go.
not he's my guy. I need a jersey or something. I need a Julius. I love Julius Randle. Part of the reason I love Julius Randle is because nobody else does, and I'm a rebel that way. It's like the band that everybody's like, that band sucks. I'm like, no, this band fucking rocks, dude. What you're crazy. So there's a little bit of the rebellion in there. Also, I think he's a really good player and doesn't get near enough credit for what he does. So in the regular season, he did not surprise me. 19, 7, and 5 PRA, very typical. 0.9 defensive stats. He sucks in defensive stats. 1.6 threes. He's usually between 1.5 and 2. Okay, that's normal. Maybe it's down slightly, but still, I can work with that stat line because Julius Randle falls in drafts. People hate him. They don't like him. They think he sucks, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, come on. I'm like a 100-mile-an-hour fastball in the 8th round or something like that. Yes, give me Julius Randle in the 8th round, and I will F up your league. What surprised me is Julius Randle in the playoffs, Doc. He was awesome. 22, 6, and 5 was his PRA throughout the playoff run. 0.9 defensive stats and 2 3 balls per game. But he had some monster games, some big-time takeover moments. The go-to guy in a lot of those playoff games when Ant-Man was struggling or up in his head about something. So I wanted to make those points about Julius.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason fantasy analysts do not like Julius Randle is the 0.9 stocks. And that is a problem for people. You're right. But when Cat left Minnesota and Julius Randle got there, it made Rudy Gobert and Julius Randle both way more relevant in fantasy than they were when things were the way they were before that. So I think I'm with you. If I'm sitting there in the 5th or 6th round and Julius Randle pops up, I'm not opposed to taking him. I'm just not going to reach for Julius Randle. That's it. I love that he's one of your guys, though. I do. That gives me a good chuckle.
He's one of my guys. Yeah, he's not a top 50 player. The lack of fantasy gold keeps him out of the top 50 for me. Definitely a top 100 player, maybe a top 75. I don't know, but it just feels like I'm going from memory a little bit, like the fuzzy kind of memory deal. But I'm thinking about draft. I had a lot of Julius Randle last year, and it was because, he's going to Minnesota. He's going to suck. Blah, 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 blah. All the negative stuff about Julius Randle. He's not going to fit. He's going to think he's the man. All of these false bullshit narratives that just are not true. And they're just unfounded. They don't come from anything of substance at all. And so it just strikes me, Doc, 7th, 8th round, I was getting Julius Randle last year, and I'm like 99.9 sure on that. And that's too late. And so I'll always take Julius Randle in a round like that because the PRA is fantastic, if only for the PRA. And you mentioned Jaden McDaniels. He almost became a 1-1-1 guy, block, steals, and threes, 0.9 blocks, 1.3 steals, 1.2 threes. Pardon me. And that all those numbers are going to go up next year, in my opinion. By the way, the Wolves have said he is untouchable in any possible move for a Kevin Durant. Good moves, Timberwolves. Good moves. Glenn Taylor, if he were still the owner, you'd all F that up. Trade them all. Let's go get Kevin Durant. Dumb, 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 dumb. But the Wicked Witch is dead, and now Glenn Taylor just sits in a courtside seat and keeps his dang mouth shut and doesn't get in the way of this team winning because it's all about A-Rod and Laurie, baby. Disappointing players for the Wolves this year, Doc. Who you got?
Dante DiVincenzo. Coming off a big year, a surprising year, and then getting moved out of that New York scrum to I mean, I really thought Dante was going to be great, but he missed a bunch of games. right when Dante was coming on and starting to run the point, he got hurt, and it never really. He missed like 20 games. He came back, and it never really was the same. Just had a down year. Mike Conley, 8 points, 4.5 assists. Just is what it is. He's older than dirt. Pretty disappointing stuff. And 800 3-pointers for Anthony Edwards. There you go.
I love it. Dante DiVincenzo was a disappointment. And Doc, you know that I wasn't high on him. The role, first of all, he came off of an act of God season with the New York Knicks, a career year, like an absolute career year. What does your boy do? I fade every time. And I'm telling you guys, it's 9 out of 10, it's correct. 9 out of 10, it's the correct move. There may be like 1 out of 10 that like deviate from the fade off of the act of God or the career year. 1 out of 10 is a deviation. I'm telling you, this is it's the second most consistent angle that I have found in sports doc outside of James Harden choking in game 5, 6, or 7. It's the second most automatic thing behind James Harden choking late in playoff series. Dante DiVincenzo played 62 games. Disappointment. 10 starts. Disappointment. Like Chris Finch. I love Chris Finch. Finchy's my boy, but the decision to start Conley over Dante is curious. And maybe, just maybe, if you change that, you would create more upside for your team. And Conley, I think, could be a nice bench player. Like, it flips it, right? Dante was a kick-ass starter for New York. And Mike Conley is a bench player right now. I like that. I like Mike Conley as your backup point guard. I don't like Mike Conley as your starting point guard, okay? So I would like the Wolves to flip that. Dante only played 25.9 minutes a game. The fantasy gold was good, and that's why we all love Dante in fantasy. 1.2 steals, 2.8 threes. He's always fantastic in those categories, which is obviously a big deal. That's it for disappointing players. Now, we want you to visit sportsethos.com. And don't just visit like a tourist. That's cool, but we would like you to I don't know, get a timeshare, buy a property, create a vacation plan out in the future, right? And what that means is go to sportsethos.com and subscribe to our work. All of our brilliant minds are out there available. Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA. We've got WNBA content out there. I'm going to be starting to do college football fantasy content. That's right. Ya boy, college football fantasy. Nobody better in that space than me. And we're going to bring that to you, sportsethos.com. All right. And so what we want you to do is go subscribe. The prices are as low as they will ever be. Our grandfather programs will make your subscription price incredibly cheap as we keep adding more and more value to the platform. Some people may be like, how are you so good at college fantasy? How do you know that? Dude, I've been playing college football fantasy for like 10 years. Did you even know that college football fantasy had been around for 10 years, Doc? And I'm not putting this a me against you thing. I'm just saying, like, dude, I'm rooted in this, man. I've got a three-peat on my resume in a super competitive league already. So trust me and follow our content for college football fantasy. And I promise, I guarantee you'll finish top 3 in your league. Whether you win it, I can't guarantee that. But if you follow my work, I'm guaranteeing you will be a top 3 finisher. Guaranteed. All right, Doc, offseason outlook for the Wolves. Dude, so we talk a lot about Naz Reid, which we will talk about here. Dude, Julius Randle has a major contract situation coming up this summer. And frankly, it's one of the most fascinating in the NBA. Julius Randle has, Doc, a player option. Where's Randle? I guess I got it. Dude, my grids are $30 million player option for Julius Randle. I'm waiting to firm up my grids after the draft and free agency, and then I'm going to go because there's a lot of discombobulation. Anyway, that's a me thing in the lab. But I've got sort of a working document here as well. Doesn't matter. Julius Randle has a $30 million player option, Doc. Dude, how curious is that? Does he pick it up? I think he's worth more than $30 million a year. But does the rest of the league look at him that way? This is a very interesting decision that he has. Talk to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what he's going to do. I don't know, how you value Julius Randle and how I value Julius Randle are two different things. It's probably that way. when you bounce team to team around the NBA. I mean, there's some
Agreed.
teams that are probably like, yeah, man, we'd love to have Julius Randle. And there's other teams that are like, well, no. So, very interesting. And if he happens to leave, then what do they plug into that hole? Which I'm not even sure they have that guy on their roster right now.
Yeah, and it's all connected to Naz Reid, who's also got a player option. He's definitely going to opt out. My prediction is that Julius Randle opts out and gets re-signed by the Minnesota Timberwolves. That's what I think is going to happen. There's no way Julius Randle's like, yeah, I can't wait to get back into $30 million. He's north of that, man. Remember, he had the hometown discount contract with the New York Knicks. He could have taken max. He didn't. Long term, that may have been a mistake by him. To leave that money on the table. But anyway, will Randall be back with the Wolves? We just don't know right now. Will Naz Reid be back with the Wolves? We just don't know right now. Obviously, if neither of them are, Rudy Gobert is probably going to get back to prime Rudy Gobert numbers. Let me see here. What do I have? Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Doc, is also a free agent. He's unrestricted. And, so a couple of questions here. And the Wolves are in for Kevin Durant. The Wolves have the 17th pick in the draft. Pardon me. Doc, they are one of the most fascinating offseason teams, the Minnesota Timberwolves. I don't know if you agree with that. To me, they are. The pursuit of Kevin Durant, to me, is realistic. They have assets to give Kevin Durant, but apparently he doesn't want to sign long-term there, so maybe that's not realistic. You said there was a headline on ESPN. Who were the finalists for Durant? It was Houston, San Antonio. Was it Miami?
And Miami, yeah.
Miami. So Minnesota's not in that group. So apparently the Wolves won't get Durant. Is NAW intriguing for you, or are you like, he's just a good bench player and he's really good against Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but otherwise I'm kind of tuned out? Where are you at?
I don't know, man. I thought I kind of overdrafted Nickeil Alexander-Walker 5 years ago. Like, I thought he was going to be good.
That was the New Orleans year, right?
I don't know what year it was.
I'm pretty sure it was. I overdrafted him too, and it blew up in my face. I was high on
and even as a rookie, I thought he was going to be really good. Like, I've always been an NAW guy, and he's never really blown up. Like, he's never popped. He just has. He's had some good games, and he's had some good moments filling in for an injured guy, but he's never really gotten a job. So I'm super intrigued by him, man. He played in all 82 games. There's something, but I would love to see him get a secure role of being a 28-minute guy. But I don't know if it's ever going to happen.
I think he's like a Caleb Martin. I just think he's a superb guy off the bench. I think he's overextended as a starter. He's kind of inconsistent with the shot. He has takeover moments. That head-up game with SGA was incredible. NAW won the MVO of the week for that game and that performance. But that's what's up. The Wolves have a lot of work to do this offseason. Players to watch heading into 25-26. Here's what I got, Doc. Does Ant-Man enter the MVP conversation? You and I both agree that Luka Doncic is going to make it interesting with Jokic and SGA. I also wonder if Ant-Man can. I don't know, okay? We may still be a year out from that because does Ant-Man get serious? Does Luka get serious? These guys, like Jason Tatum got serious. He's kind of sort of always been serious, and Doc will tell you corny, but Jason Tatum is serious. That's why he has a championship right now. Because he's not out there being goofy and being out of shape and missing games. No, he's locked in, okay? Say what you want about Tatum. The kid's locked in. And he's got a chip. And you can't take that away from him. I overhear him a big Jason Tatum guy. even if he's corny. Which I don't think he is. That's a whole. I say that jokingly, and I should probably stop fanning the flames of that narrative. Although Doc will pick it right up where I left off. Do the Wolves pivot from Conley to Dante, right, at the starting point guard thing? To me, I'm really watching that. And then Terrence Shannon, Doc, had a lot of nice moments in the playoffs, dude. Do we get like a little Terrence Shannon uptick next year?
Oh, I don't know. Do we? I don't know. I'm here's what I'm looking for. I don't know anything about Terrence Shannon. I remember he did have
He gets buckets.
a few moments in the playoffs, but I don't know, dude. I don't know about. What about Rob Dillingham?
There you go.
Is he the point guard of the future for this team?
Seems like they hate him, bro. He didn't even play last year. Dude, they give up a future first-round pick to trade up and get him. They didn't even play him.
And they played Mike Conley over him every
That's
time they could. Every
That's
chance
correct.
they had, they did. Anthony Edwards is going to be in the MVP running next year. Remember last year, he wasn't even considered, and Minnesota had one of the better records in the West. They might have had the best record in the West the year before last. And Edwards' name wasn't even on the board in Vegas. I think the NBA wants Anthony Edwards to become the face of the league. And I think that next year we're going to see a lot of hype for Ant to be MVP. But I got a little advice for him. How about 7 3-pointers a game and only like 500 attempts for the year instead of 800? Insane, dude. Dante DiVincenzo, Mike Conley, Rob Dillingham. Who's going to play point guard for this team next year? Is Naz Reid going to be there? Is Julius Randle going to be there? Naz Reid opts out, man. There's going to be a lot of teams going after Naz Reid. I don't know that he's coming back.
I agree, dude. The word on the street is he wants to come back. The team wants him back, but that's what you say. And then it comes down to money. And are the Wolves going to have $30 to $40 million a year to pay Naz Reid? And then not be a second apron team. I mean, if you want to be a second apron team, they can probably easily do it. But we'll find out. All right, Doc, let's move on to the New York Knicks. Fantasy MVP for the Knicks this year was?
I just lost my page, dude. Oh, it's Cat, right? Or was it Jalen Brunson?
You tell me, dude. You tell me, dog.
All right, I think you're gonna say Jalen Brunson, so I'm gonna say Cat.
Wrong.
You're gonna say Karl Anthony Towns as well?
Yeah, we can have the same pick. It doesn't matter. But yeah,
I know it's more fun if we have different picks. Why can't I find this? Rick, I can't find what I'm looking for here.
You want me to tell the people?
I want you to go first.
All right.
Yes.
So I got Cat. And this is not a debate for me. Jalen Brunson was really good. Karl Anthony Towns was sensational. He was number 3 on my MVP reality list. Okay. It was SGA, Jokic, Cat. And then probably Giannis, and then maybe like Tatum. I don't know. I don't have that list in front of me, but I know that third on my list was Cat. I had him above Giannis. Okay. He played in 72 games. Brunson played in 65. Cat stat line 24, 13, and 3. My God. 0.7 blocks is a total buzzkill, but 1 steal, 2 threes, 52, 42, 83. The lack of blocks has grown to be pretty grotesque with him. And again, I'm going to bang on this drum until I see something differently. Cat's got to lose weight. He has to. He's carrying at least 20 pounds too much. Like, he looks a little puffy to me. He looks also very strong, all right? But you gotta to me, there is 10 pounds of fluff on that body right now. I can just tell by looking at him. And then if you go ahead and like really dial in this offseason, take maybe another 5 or 7 pounds off, dude, the numbers are going to get even better. And the shot blocking will return because he's going to be able to get off the floor. That's what that speaks to, bro. He ain't getting off the floor, Doc, at all. He's a grounded player. Lose weight. You will then, gravity will be less of a problem for you if you lose 15 pounds. So that's where I'm at. I love the season he had. I want him to lose weight, and I want the blocks to return, Doc.
All right, I'm just going to go with Jalen just so we can talk about him. I agree. I mean, Cat had an MVP type of season leading the Knicks this year. And the fact that all 5 Knicks that play stayed healthy for the most part was pretty incredible. Cat missed 10 games, and Jalen Brunson actually missed 17 games. It didn't feel like he missed that many, but he did. 65 games for Jalen, 26 points, only 3 rebounds, 7.3 assists, only 0.9 steals, which is a problem, I think. One good thing about Jalen, though, he doesn't turn the ball over, shoots it pretty well. He gets a lot of inside buckets. He's a good. I'm surprised he doesn't get more rebounds than 2.9 because I feel like he plays in the paint a lot. But pretty good season, man. 26.7 assists, and you lead your team on a reasonable playoff run. Maybe not a great playoff run, but at least they got there.
All right, dude. I got a question for you about Karl Anthony Towns. Will Cat play at this level next year without Tom Thibodeau pushing him?
I feel like the overall vibe in the NBA has changed from the Kawhi Leonard, I'm just going to play when I feel good and not put my body at risk, to I'm going to have some pride and try to go out there and help my team every night that I can. I feel like the whole league attitude has changed, which is good for us and good for fantasy. The injuries are still through the roof and off the charts, but the mindset seems to be different, which I think makes it sting a little bit less. I don't know. We don't even know who the Knicks coach is going to be. They're still trying to recruit. Have they called you yet, Rick? Have they asked Andre for permission to interview you?
No, but they do want to interview Andre. They want to interview GPT Andre.
And
who would be a way better coach than me, by the way. Way better coach.
Dude, Andre would probably be a pretty badass coach.
I think he's been a coach. I know he's been with clubs, like running them and doing stuff for them. The guy's a badass. I wouldn't put anything past Andre. If you told me Andre's studying to be the Latvian James Bond, I'd be like, yep, I get it. I can see that. I really can.
Will totally Karl Anthony Towns be the same player next year that he was this year?
That is the question. Without Tibbs. I think Tibbs is a big factor in Cat having that year he just had.
And he also popped. Like Cat had a big year. And what do you do after somebody has a big day or a big year?
Well, I fade, but Karl Anthony Towns is a historical future Hall of Famer. Has a chance to be the best shooting big of all time. So fading a guy at that level, it's different. Like Dante DiVincenzo's Dante DiVincenzo. He's not going to the Hall of Fame. He's never going to make a damn all-star team, right? Those are the guys that I fade. But Cat, I'll answer my question. I do not believe Cat is going to play at this level next year for a non-Tibbs coach. I don't, okay? Are his numbers going to fall off the table? No. I'm talking about going from 24 and 13 to like 21 and 11 and a half, right? Like still a really solid year, but not as gargantuan. I don't think he'll be third on my MVP reality ranking next year, Doc. I don't think he's going to have that massive of a season. I just don't.
Yeah, I agree with you. And he has years where he misses a bunch of games. Bam. And I feel like we're kind of due for one of those. So
I feel like it too.
I'm not gonna say I'm straight up fading Cat, but as of today, as of right now, I'm probably letting somebody else draft him when it's time to draft Cat. I mean, I've got him on my list at number 8. And I think that's about where he belongs. I just don't know if I'll take him at 8.
I love that. I feel the same way. I've got him at 7 right now, and I've got Anthony Edwards at 8. You get me on draft day. And by the way, again, living, breathing documents. I kind of put a cluster of Davis, Giannis, and Cat at 5, 6, and 7 after the big 4. And then there's a cluster of 5 guards after them. I'm probably going to vet that more and drop Cat down. Like Doc said, 8, 9, 10, probably in that range. I can't see myself taking Cat over Edwards or Hallie. Probably not even over, maybe over Curry. Curry misses a million games now. I'd probably take Trae Young over Cat. I'd probably take Cade over Cat. So Cat's drifting here as I look at this, probably to the 10, 11 range. He's a late first round pick. And like Doc said, if Cat is there at 11, I'm probably going to take Cat. But if I've got the 7 pick and I've already taken Ant-Man, then somebody else will take Cat. All right. And I would take Giannis or Davis over Cat in that little cluster of elite bigs. Surprising players, Doc, for the Knicks this year for you were.
Man.
There were only 5 guys that played. There's only 5 guys to choose from here.
There wasn't a lot to be surprised about. Mitchell Robinson surprised me when he appeared in 17 games and looked like he could play basketball. Miles McBride was the only guy that played off the bench, and there was nothing surprising really about his game. There wasn't a lot going on there. Josh Hart, able to get 9.6 rebounds a game and embarrass half of the big men in the league. That is surprising. He's such a good rebounder, and he's considered a guard. So that's awesome. And OG Anunoby had a good season. I wasn't really surprised by it, but I think he's proven that he's pretty reliable now.
OG had a really good season, dude. He did. We have the same surprises here. Josh Hart, the PRA was fantastic. His basketball monster value last I checked, Doc, was 2nd round. Might have drifted to the 3rd round a little bit, but he was basically a top 30 player according to Basketball Monster rankings last year. Top 30, okay? Many superstars. I know we overuse that word, but the Cade Cunninghams and Jaylen Brown and a lot of these guys where the percentages kind of sucked them down a little bit. Josh Hart's way above those guys. It's kind of crazy and not a true indication of how you win in fantasy basketball. But nevertheless, it's metrics and analytics, and Josh Hart ranked that high. But still, that's a good indication of how huge of a season he had. Mitchell Robinson in the playoffs, Doc, was very impressive. And he had a lot of moments. There were times when they went with a Cat and Mitchell Robinson, double big look. So Mitchell Robinson had a bit of a renaissance in the playoffs. All right, let's move on to disappointing players, Doc, for the Knicks this year. And I want to get the party started here with a man named Mikal Bridges. Mikal Bridges plays every game, plays huge minutes. We love that, okay? But, and it's a big old but, you can't just be out there. One of John Wooden's big phrases, Doc. And Bill Walton coined this, and I got it from Walton, but I'm pretty sure he got it from Wooden. And may they both rest in peace. But Bill Walton used to say, let me get this right. Never mistake activity for achievement. Right? Does that make sense? Just because you're doing stuff doesn't mean you're achieving anything. Okay? Never confuse activity with achievement, or whatever he said. But
hey, Rick.
Yeah.
When my brother and I were little, we were playing with my dad's power drill, and we had a plastic Dino the dinosaur from the Flintstones character figure, and my brother drilled this drill bit into his butt, and it snapped off and broke inside Dino the dinosaur. And my dad found the drill, and he's JFC, who the F? What? Like he's going crazy, right? And I was like, Gary drilled your drill into Dino the dinosaur's butt. My dad's like, he's like losing his mind. And my mom's like, Jim, don't be so hard on him. At least he was using the tool. Don't mistake productivity for, or no, what'd you say? Don't
mistake activity for
activity. He was actively using the drill. It was just for something stupid.
I love it. But he was not achieving anything, and he pissed off your dad and sent him into a profane tirade. And that'll happen. And that'll happen from time to time. But, dude, Mikal Bridges is just a guy. 17.6 points, 3.2 rebounds, 3.7 assists. Dude, stop me when any of these numbers get you excited, okay? 0.5 blocks, 0.9 steals, 2 threes, 50% from the field? Doesn't get me jacked. 35% on threes, 81% from the line. Played 37 minutes a game, all 82 games, and that was the stat line. I can tell you right now, Doc, Mikal Bridges, and look, he's not, his stat set is not my stat set. So I didn't have any shares of Mikal Bridges last year. But Doc, like that year sucked. Those stats that I just read right there, how average is that?
It's very average, but in Mikal Bridges' defense, he did play all 82 games again. He was out there for you every night, putting up almost 18 points per game.
But again, you can't mistake activity for achievement.
It's 18 points, and it's times 82. Like that's a lot of points. But, Rick, he also was taken in the 7th round in most leagues. Like in 30 deep, he went, I think, 67th. So he's a 7th round guy, and his value is round 7 on Basketball Monster. So, I mean, yes, it's disappointing, but hopefully after everybody got burned on Mikal Bridges the prior year, you drafted him appropriately this year. You know, took him in the 6th or 7th round, and he gave you 7th round value. I don't have a problem with it.
Y'all can have him. He is not special enough in any category for your boy. Off-season outlook. There's so much to unpack here. Let's start with the coach. Like Michael Malone. Hello. They're going to interview, maybe already have Taylor Jenkins and Mike Brown. I think they're idiotic for not looking up Michael Malone, who's got ties to the organization. He's the best unemployed coach out there right now. So they got to vet that. Do you have anything to add to the coaching search? You kind of anesthetized on their delusional coaching search so far.
Well, I'm just wondering what the impact is of Leon Rose and Rick Brunson, Jalen Brunson's dad. Like, are these guys, are they calling all the shots now? Are they, Rick? I mean, you probably know better than I do.
I don't.
And is the rest of the crew on board with that, or is it just a weird situation where everybody's kind of like walking on eggshells, and you know the players, like the only person who knew their role on this team was Jalen Brunson? I don't know, man. It just feels like things are really weird in New York.
They are, and it's because of their owner, Jim Dolan. When he got out of the way, it wasn't weird, Doc. And now he's back in, and he was one of the guys that spearheaded the firing of Tom Thibodeau, according to Vince Goodwill. And so that means that's true. Vince doesn't mess around. He's one of the best in the biz. So it's extremely weird, Doc. And they probably are walking around, you know, on eggshells and all that kind of stuff because the owner's back involved. He wasn't, and now he is. And so it's a mess. The less these owners get involved, the better. That's just how I look at it. You know, they could trade away Cat. They could bring in Kevin Durant. They could bring in Giannis, although the Giannis thing, he's got to ask out. The Bucks don't want to trade him, so that thing's kind of jammed up. The Knicks don't have any first-round picks. Precious Achua, Campaign, Landry Shamet, DeLon Wright are free agents, and I don't care about any of those guys. Achua a little bit. All right, players to watch for 25-26. Are the Knicks too much Jalen Brunson? That narrative started popping up. I think it's bullshit, but maybe it's not. Will his usage change and his fantasy value drop under a new coach because of that? I don't know. I mean, he's such a volume guy and such a stud. Do you think the Knicks need less of Brunson next year? I certainly don't.
Dude, he was catching a lot of strays at the end of the playoffs, right? When their playoff run came to an end, ESPN was basically saying Brunson has the ball in his hands too much. He has too much control. He's dribbling too much. And then you hear, the inklings of Cat saying, I didn't really know what my role was. The only person who really, knew their role was Jalen Brunson. And so you just wonder, is the party over? I mean, is the party over? Because now you have a new coach. You've only got 5 guys that can play because that's all Thibodeau played. I mean, if you look down this bench, Cameron Payne and Precious Achua and DeLon Wright. I like DeLon Wright, but he's probably not even there anymore. I don't know. I'm very concerned about the Knicks next year, especially if Tibbs didn't just come play the same 5 studs every night. This team has no depth.
I agree with all that, man. I agree with all that. I don't trust OG to have the season that he had this year, next year. I don't think he'll play as much, minutes, maybe not even games. He was 18, 5-2, 1.5 steals, 0.9 blocks, 2.3 threes. What a year. I just don't think he's going to do that again. I think a new coach will have some different ideals with that. So, Doc, let's move on to NBA Finals after I tell the people how to support us. If you would like to do that, like to help us out, get bigger, and continue to billow this juggernaut over at Sports Ethos, the best way is to leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. And if you're feeling generous, drop us a written review. It'll help us grow and reach more people. Doc, let me check the line here real quick. I looked at this before I came on. It was 6.5. OKC in front of Indiana, at least by point spread. And, of course, the site that I'm on is buffering. So who do you like against the spread here tonight in Game 6 at Indianapolis, Doc?
I got the spread at 6.5. OKC by 6.5 at Indiana. Game 6. We don't know the status of Tyrese Halliburton. He's iffy. I mean, if I'm betting on that, I'm putting everything on Halliburton's going to play. The only way Halliburton doesn't play is if Carlisle sits him down and says, look, dude, look what you did to us last game. If we would have just left McConnell out there, because McConnell had a huge third quarter. We got Indy back in the game. And then Halliburton came back and everything just kind of sputtered eventually. I think he's going to play, and I think he's going to be healthy enough to play. And this is the thing about Tyrese Halliburton. He did it all year. He would have these disappearing act shutdown games where you would look at the box score after the game and think to yourself, why is this guy even on my team? Like, really 0 for 6 and like 4 points all off of free throws? But he's done it all year. And about once every 3 or 4 weeks, Tyrese Halliburton just goes bye-bye. So I think this is a team of destiny. I think that we are destined for a Game 7, and it's going to be raucous and very hard to win in Indiana for Game 6. So I'm taking the Pacers plus the 6.5.
I will say this. I have no idea. This is the worst betting experience of my life. I'm not making this up. Doc, in 3 games, games 3, 4, and 5, I've lost over $500 on this series. Okay? I don't know. I was killing it up until the NBA Finals. I was 2.5x on my initial investment. Rolling. I was so damn arrogant, I'm doing table tennis bets out here, okay? And winning over there too. For a minute, and then that went away.
I was gonna say I haven't heard any table tennis.
Well, I was
lately.
on an extended heater, and then I gave it all back in one day. It was like LLL, and it was like, okay, I'm back to square. Cool, that was fun with table tennis. All right, I'm out. So it was a little dalliance with table tennis. But for a minute there, I was rolling, yo. Dude, I was rolling on these fucking playoffs, dude. Your team. Your Indiana Pacers. Dude, I'm on OKC. They're going to blow them out. Bet. Indiana, like you said, they just can't shake these. They just can't shake them, bro. So I'm losing bets on Indiana when I think OKC's got that blowout game, right? Losing all of those bets. And then, Doc, I get a little tickle on Indiana. And I play Indiana in game 4. And what happens? They fucking choke, dude. The fourth quarter, Reggie Miller did it to his own team. They have 17 points. They have 1 point in the final 3 minutes. SGA has 15 fucking points of the last 16 for his team. Okay, so I don't know. You got a gun in my mouth. Okay, I'll tell you OKC minus the points. I feel like they're going to go in for the kill. I feel like Halliburton, once they say MRI, Doc, not good. So I think he's going to play. I don't think he's going to be effective. I think he's going to be a decoy out there. I think SGA, after J-Dub had the game in Game 5, I think SGA is going to have a massive game here in Game 6 and prove to everybody this is why I'm the Finals MVP. OKC's taking their defense to a totally different level, starting with the fourth quarter of Game 4 and then Game 5. It's totally different. The ball pressure's crazy. And so now that they're at that level and they're 1 win away, I don't think anything's going to change with that. I think OKC ends the season. We have no basketball after Thursday night. I hope I'm wrong about that. I would love a Game 7. All right, Ricky props, Doc. I got SGA over 33.5 points. He's gone 38, 34, 24, 35, 31. Again, it doesn't make sense. And he's going to close the deal here. J-Dub under 23.5 coming off the act of God, 40-point Game 5. Nebhard over 10.5, Doc. Whenever Hallie is out or compromised, Nebhard flirts with triple doubles, frankly. So I like Nebhard over 10.5. I like Mathurin over 11.5. He was 2 of 11 in the last game. And I think with Halliburton not playing all that well, they're going to need more from Mathurin. I think his playing time will go up. And then I've got Miles Turner over 13.5. He is super due, okay? I think he's going to have to shoot more and do more with the Halliburton thing. And in this series, Doc, he's gone 15, 16, 9, 12, and 13. He's been under this number 3 straight. I think that's going to change. So I'm over on Turner, I'm over on Nebhard, over on Mathurin, under on J-Dub, and over on SGA. Who you got?
I'm going over on Siakam's points because he just keeps hitting for me. And, I mean, he's basically the best offensive option that they've got. Especially if Halliburton's not at 100%. And then Nembhard, like you said, if Hallie's down, I feel like Nembhard kind of rolls. So I like both of those. And then I just want to say props to Vegas, man. These games, I tell you that somebody's probably going to win this game by 6 or 7 points because the line is 6.5. And Vegas hits these things, man. Like the last game is 1 point. Like I'm losing all these bets by a half point or 1 point. And it's just, they're so good at what they do. But I think Indy's going to win, man. I'm feeling good.
I literally have no idea. I'm watching Game 6 as a fan. I most likely will have no money on the game, no live betting. I think I just need to restrict myself.
You're depressed. You're putting yourself into non-activity.
I've been awful. I've been god-awful. Like, why go back in and just hand more money to Hard Rock Bet down here in Florida? I mean, Dude, I've lost $500 in the last week betting on the NBA Finals, and I love it. And I'm not this bad, but I need a slump buster, bro. Maybe at the bar tonight. All right, for Dr. A and for Andre and all of you, we really appreciate you, man. We love you. This episode's been brought to you by Bet Online. We will see you very soon with another episode of the Fantasy NBA Today.